You know that feeling when something's about to go horribly wrong? That was my ancestors in 1868. And if you've ever tried buying or selling a home, especially in another country, it can feel just as risky. The thumbnail gave you a clue. There's me, looking terrified, with a lion clawing at my back. Dramatic? Definitely. But if you've ever dealt with international property law or tried relocating with a young family, you'll know it's not far off. Hello, I'm Grantham, and this is a story of storms, lions, legacy, and the surprising differences between buying property in the UK versus South Africa. But first, a bit of context. I started my property journey back in the early 2000s by renovating my own homes. One project turned into two, then four, then I was knee-deep in tiles, paint samples, and spreadsheets. From there, I got stuck into bigger stuff, commercial, industrial, and residential property, and spent over a decade doing deals and learning the ropes in South Africa. In 2021, my wife and I made the massive decision to move back to the UK. We arrived with 1.5 children, and yes, I do mean that literally. My wife was pregnant. Moving country is tough at the best of times. Now, add in morning sickness, a toddler who thinks long-haul flights are a form of medieval torture, and the chaos of multiple suitcases, plus a shipping container full of everything we own. That container, by the way, took 2 months to arrive. So we essentially lived out of a couple of suitcases for the first 2 or 3 months. And to top it off, this was during COVID. Endless PCR tests, face masks, social distancing in half-empty airports, and the constant worry that a test result or restriction would derail the entire move. It was chaos, but we did it. And that's where the story comes full circle. Because I didn't just move country, I stepped into a completely different property system. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. To understand how we got here, we need to hear this. The year is 1868. My great-great-grandparents, James and Eliza, are boarding the Prince Alfred, a 258-ton sailing ship. They've just married, they've never left Britain, they're sailing for Durban, South Africa, a place they've never seen, with a dream, some savings, and a cabin full of furniture they brought themselves. Mid-Atlantic, a violent storm hits. The ship capsizes, sails flat against the water, the crew are trapped, everyone's holding their breath, then snap. The mast breaks and the ship rights itself. They get blown so far off course they actually see Brazil. But eventually they make it to Durban. No port, no gangway, just rope ladders, longboats, and local Zulu warriors carrying them through the surf to dry land. Welcome to South Africa. No welcome mat, no estate agent, no latte, and here's a wild fact. The last line in Durban had only been shot 14 years earlier in 1854. Elephants had only moved out in 1856. So when my ancestors landed there in 1868, this was still very much the wild edge of the world. The bush came right up to the thatched huts. Snakes, heat, sand, isolation. It wasn't just a new life, it was survival. From there, James and Elisa took a train 70 miles inland to Pietermaritzburg, the end of the line, and they traveled by horseback to find land. Within 6 weeks, they bought a 1,500 acre site and called it Tweenie Hall after Elisa's family farm in Scotland. That land, right beside Midmar Dam, is where I grew up with my sister, on a working farm with an incredible history and generations of stories. And that legacy still stands today. My uncle, David, my mom's brother, still owns Tweenie Hall, and he's the one who passed this entire story down to me. It's part of our family now. It's part of the reason why I understand property a bit differently. Let's talk about those differences, especially between South Africa and the UK. In South Africa, once you sign a sale agreement, it's binding. That's it. You're locked in. You can't just back out because you had a rethink or something shinier came along. Unless your sale was subject to a specific condition, for example, subject to selling your current property or subject to getting a bond, which is a mortgage over here, you're committed. If that subject to condition isn't met within an agreed time frame, then sure, the deal can fall through. But flaking out, not an option. It means there's more certainty in the process. Everyone knows where they stand. The timelines are clearer, the pressure's on, but it moves things forward. In the UK, it works differently. An offer is accepted, the marketing stops, and the solicitors get busy. But the deal isn't legally binding until exchange. Right up to that point, either the buyer or the seller can walk away. No big explanation needed. Now, that's not always a bad thing. It gives people flexibility if circumstances genuinely change. But it does mean things can unravel quite quickly if one link in the chain fails. There are talks around introducing reservation agreements in the UK, contracts that lock in both parties early and help protect buyers and sellers, but they're not widely used just yet. Then there's the question of commission. In South Africa, estate agents typically charge 5% and sometimes even 7 or 8% depending on the region. That's the norm. Estate agents around the UK typically charge somewhere between 1 and 2%, which makes a big difference to how the marketing behaves and what sellers expect in terms of service and marketing. Each system has its pros and its cons. South Africa moves fast and firm. The UK is more cautious and flexible. What matters most is understanding the systems that you're working in and knowing how to make it work for you. If you're relocating, especially between countries, these differences can trip you up if you're not prepared. But that's where I come in. Whether you're buying, selling, or just curious, I can help you avoid the lions. And I mean that both literally and figuratively. And if you're local to Grantham, here's something practical. I've got an extensive list of trusted contractors. If you're planning to sell but want to spruce things up first, or if you just want to improve your home for yourself and need help finding reliable people, sparkies, roofers, decorators, you name it, send me a message or drop me a comment and I'll get those names over to you. This story started on a storm, on a boat, with a cabin full of furniture and no idea what was coming next. And now it's come full circle, with my family back in the UK doing what we do best, property. So if you're facing a big move or feeling overwhelmed or just want some honest advice, I'm here. No pressure, no pitch. And if you want to dive deeper into the story and the legacy of Tweedy Hall, check out the blog link below. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon. Cheers.